Keegan Williams from San Diego State, who has very pretty eyes. Have you seen his eyes? They're like sparkly blue. He's got that dark skin. It's just like striking. He looks like Alex Rodriguez.
I don't know what to say to you when you say these kinds of things on this podcast.
Very handsome fella. Thorny, as we venture into the R&R, two truths are consistent. We love our dear Montana State, and we love great beer. And you know who else feels the same? Jeremiah Johnson Brewing. Brewed in the heart of Montana in downtown Great Falls, Jeremiah Johnson takes Montana's finest ingredients to craft some of Montana's favorite beers. And now, Jeremiah Johnson's second tap room is open in downtown Coeur d'Alene. Their Citra IPA is probably one of my favorites. But we all know, Thorny, you're not the hop lover I am. You're more of a Mountain Man Scotch Ale.
Well, Foley, I'm certainly not a mountain man, but you are right. I do love their Mountain Man Scotch Ale. But come game day, you and I are both cracking their Golden Bobcat Pale Ale. So when you're looking for a quality craft beer brewed with Montana roots, a relaxing tap room, or just a six-pack to take to your favorite Bobcat tailgate, Jeremiah Johnson delivers. Make your next beer a Jeremiah Johnson, and as always, go Cats.
Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy it. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the R&R Catcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. He's your host, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the R&R Catcast, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And we are happy to be here tonight. Thorny, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Woo.
I'm officially cracking a beer to actually start talking a little bit of football for the 2022 season, which is right around the corner, Foley. I'm in a good mood. I'm excited. Just crack my beer. Life's good.
Excellent. Yeah, man, it is fast approaching. It is a bit painful, honestly, for you and me because we are so invested in Montana State, but we haven't seen these guys in person. We don't know what Keegan Williams look like. We don't know what Cleveland, our new, oh my gosh, for guys, Malik Mullins, all these new guys that are Cleveland Thomas. All these new guys that are coming into the program, like, we have no clue what they look like, how fast they look, how smooth they look. And that just bothers me. Like, I itch for that. I need that until we see them on tape on the first week of practice, or the first game. It's really hard for us to make lots of declarative statements about these guys. But that's what we're here to do. We're going to talk about the offense tonight, at least with some thoughts on what could be coming up, right?
That's right. Yep. Give you kind of the main storylines that we're keeping an eye on. I think everyone's talking about, basically. We're going to give you nothing new here. Just kind of our thoughts on some of the main stuff as we move into fall camp, and focusing on the offense here tonight, which is, something I think a lot of eyeballs will be on this year in particular.
Mm-hmm. We'll definitely talk about the quarterbacks, Tommy Mellott and Sean Chambers. We have to talk about the receiver room. The receiver room is like, who's that? We're a whole bunch of new guys transferring in. We'll talk about those guys. We'll give you some Ifanse news if you haven't heard. He's month to month, and
month to month.
So what does that mean for what's that mean for the rest of Montana State? And is that a good thing? Could there be a silver lining in that? Is kind of where I'll go with that. And then we're going to talk about our O-line, our COVID young O-line. That's a term I got from Jimmy Beal. I said, man, we got a young O-line. He goes, yeah, but they're COVID young. I was like, I like that. So we'll talk about the O-line, and we'll probably talk about the tight ends. So, we'll go through the position groups, but another treat we have for our listeners tonight is we're going to play the Tommy Mellott interview I had during media days. 3 or 4 minutes. It wasn't long. It was like at the very end of media days, and he was trying to get out. And man, he he did me a solid, honestly, just sitting down and talking with me. So I got a couple of things for him on that, and we'll give that audio to you. And the cool part about this episode, I think, really is the fan interaction. I put out the call on Bobcat Nation today for buy or sell questions based on offense and defense, because we will do a counterpart episode of the defense later on, probably next week. Whenever. Yeah. But tons of response on Bobcat Nation for buy or sell. So we'll read through those and have some good conversations.
Yeah,
Pretty stoked for it.
Yeah, it's always awesome when we get lots of fan questions or stuff like that, because it gives us content, it gives us something to talk about, and it makes us feel important. I guess people are asking us questions. It's always a good feeling connecting with fans and having people, or connecting with listeners and having people send in questions like that. And like Foley said, this will be probably one of the last 2 episodes that we do for preview type stuff. We'll do defense next week, and then we'll take a week off. And then that final week leading up to the first game, we will have penciled in a person who will come on the podcast and tell us a little bit about McNeese State. And that'll kind of kick off the normal schedule of events for us, where we do our Monday, Wednesday release game recaps, previews, and instant reaction shows on Saturday. So can't wait to get into the actual season, but we got a couple preseason episodes planned out here for you before things kick off officially, starting tonight with the offense. You want to I was going to say you want to dive right into it, but no, Foley. What's in your golden coolie? Oh.
What's in your golden coolie?
You first, my friend, this time.
Oh, man. So I have a funny story about what's in my golden coolie tonight. I mean, if you listen to our other episode that's going to air before this, you probably heard I'm in like the latter stages of COVID. COVID came to our house, and both my boys, my wife, and I have COVID. But so we've been just staying at home, and we got a care package today from our aunt, or my wife's aunt, and she brought me a Modelo, but she brought me a 24-ounce, like one of those ginormous cans of Modelo. And I tried putting it in the golden coolie. It didn't fit. And I was like, I don't know. So I scrapped that and put it back in the fridge. Then I went to the garage fridge and I grabbed a Rainier with a lime. I'm like, yeah, right.
The Belgrade Corona.
Move. So yeah, Belgrade Corona. That's what I got. It's a tall boy though. It's like one of the 16 ounces.
Yeah, that was the one I had last night. Yeah, funny, we're recording 2 nights in a row. I haven't even edited the podcast we just did last night. Yeah, but my beer last night was also way too big for the coolie. Sometimes nights just call for that.
Yeah.
Well, nice. Cheers to that. I am drinking the DraftWorks, Missoula DraftWorks, which DRAUGHT. That's how they spell draft. The cream ale, one of the mini beers I brought back from Montana. I just grabbed it. I've never had it. I was just looking at the wall of Montana beers at the Rose Hours there in Missoula. Grabbed it. You know what? I'm digging it. I like a good cream ale once in a while, and it's it's really good. I'm enjoying it. It's smooth. It's crisp. I mean, what else can you ask for?
I like cream ales on nitro. They get that frothy head. It's really good.
I don't like nitro beer. Like every once in a while, I'll enjoy a nitro beer, but it just tastes like it's just flat beer.
Man, hey, Thorny, you and I are going to go out to Portland for the Oregon State game. Portland has a ton of craft beers. We're going to have a good night.
They absolutely do.
Man, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
And Voodoo Donuts.
All right. I think let's start this off. Let's talk quarterback room.
Yeah.
How do you want to start this? Do you want to play the Tommy audio right now, or do you want to get into just who's in the quarterback room?
Let's just kind of run down a little bit, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just play the audio, I guess. I think that'll probably make the most sense before you really kick off the discussion, because I feel like once we start the discussion, we're just going to steamroll right through things, and we're like, oh, we forgot to play the audio. So let's just go ahead and play that right now. I know how we operate. Let's just do it. So here it goes. We're going to play it. We're going to listen to it live because we can do that now. And then we can actually talk about it when we're done. So here we go. Tommy Mellott's audio from Ryan Foley at the Big Sky Media Days 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. All right, I'm here with Tommy Mellott. Tommy, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I know you're a busy man, but I want to say thanks for joining us. My question, as I knew I was going to meet you this week, I thought about your position, your shoes, as you were coming in, going through the playoffs last year, and all of a sudden you are the face of the program. You are the Montana State quarterback. As a young man, how does that feel? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, obviously growing up in Montana, it means a ton. Montana State is where you want to grow up and you want to go play for, and it was a blessing to be able to play. And I think the biggest thing, a lot of people, saw me as the face of the program, but it was extremely important for me to kind of remember that, that's not all about me. And it's those teammates that I had were unbelievable last year that, they really got us to the national championship game. I was just kind of the piece that got to go in there and just distribute the ball as a quarterback. And so I was extremely grateful for that. I'm extremely grateful for all the support.
How has the attention been for you? Is that something that you've taken with stride? Has it been hard?
Yeah, I think it's been both. It's something that I've had to grow with for sure. Growing up in Butte, Montana, there was obviously being able to playing quarterback there from a young age as well. At the high school, there was a little bit of fame. Butte cares about their football quite a lot, and so throughout the city of Butte, I felt like I was pretty well known, and then it kind of just kept on growing, and now it's something that I've certainly had to kind of develop that skill of. It's certainly a skill just to be that kind of individual and be able to navigate through what all that brings. And so I think it was a challenge. It was also a blessing. So I'm extremely grateful for it, and you only get to do it for so many years, and then so I'm just trying to make the most of it right now and earn it for and continue to earn what I think I can.
I guess my last question then would be for you is, how do you temper your expectations for yourself versus the fans' expectations of Tommy Mellott?
Yeah, and I think it's important, as I even said kind of earlier, that there's a lot of expectations around our entire team. There's a lot of expectations within me, and just remembering that it's like the team, so it's like I'm going to be out there and I'm going to distribute the ball and I'm going to do what I think is best for the team, and I'm going to do I've been doing as much as I possibly can to prepare myself. But I'm excited and I'm appreciative of all those expectations and all that pressure. I think that without it, I don't think Montana State would be getting the most out of me and most out of the quarterback room. And I think that they certainly are right now, and we're excited to show that I think we have the best quarterback room in the Big Sky. So we're excited to go and try to prove that.
I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Ryan Foley.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I do appreciate you going down there and getting these interviews with Brent Vigen and Tommy Mellott, and that was a good one, and talked a lot about like expectations and how he's handling the weight of all that. I mean, I'm sure other people ask him the same thing. I've heard similar audio from other people, but I mean, that's kind of the big thing right now, and I think he answered it well. I think we got a guy who's got his head on his shoulders as best as you can for the spotlight he was thrust into. So pretty interesting audio and good answers. What do you think of his answers on the questions you asked?
He's more polished now than he was in December of last year. I remember during my quarantine just recently, I went back and I watched the Sam Houston State game from stem to stern, and there's Tommy Mellott with a mop head, curly hair at the end of the game with the headset thrust on him, and he's being asked all these questions by the ESPN announcers, and he's kind of fumbling through them, just giving the canned answers and whatnot. I'm sitting there in retrospect, I'm just looking at the guy, and I'm like, man, this young 18, 19-year-old is now becoming one of the most famous people in Montana, most recognizable name, and that's got to change. That's got to change you in such a drastic way. And I remember when I was going to see him, I was like, man, that's the angle I really want to kind of figure out. Like, how is this changing him? And when I was sitting across from him, Ryan, hey, his demeanor never really changed. He has that cool, calm, collectiveness about him, and it just kind of like as I was watching him speak and give his answers, and he's more calculated in what he's saying and more polished, but that wasn't it for me. It was just a feeling I got just sitting across from him, being like, yeah, he's ready for this. He's embraced it. It's probably not something he ever thought about growing up, but here he is, 19, maybe 20, and he's ready to take on being the Montana State quarterback, QB number 1.
No, and I liked how you even mentioned like the quarterback room. Like he made sure to include like his teammates in there too. So I think he's a good teammate. I don't know, Tommy seems like a guy who like maybe it didn't change him. There's nothing to change with Tommy Mellott. He's just out there playing football. That's all there is. Maybe that's all it is to Tommy Mellott.
I think that's a nice thing to say, but I don't believe that. Like,
I mean,
the tension. I mean, you walk around town, people are like, I have a shirt. I was gonna wear this shirt. I was like, what if I go to there? I have the Tommy football shirt. He has notoriety.
That's on the.
It's gonna change you.
That's on Montana State's website shop. That Tommy Mellott shirt.
Yeah, one of the thing if anything, is probably gonna make him work harder, because he seems like the kind of guy to me that he's like, dang, there's a lot of expectations on my shoulders now. Better get to work.
Pressure creates diamonds, right? That's what they say.
Yeah. He's a 4.0 engineering student. I think we're in good hands right there.
I think we're in good hands. I'm excited to see what he can do. There's lots of buy or sell questions around him, and there's lots of questions around Tommy Mellott. I want to ask you a little bit about the rest of the quarterback room. Sean Chambers, the transfer from Wyoming, and then the other guy that we've heard a lot about, who some people speculate may get some time here and there, and not just in like complete mop-up duty, Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
Do you have his information in front of you? I got so many tabs open on my
6'6", 200-pound freshman. You can't like discount Sean Chambers as well. Sean Chambers was Jeff Choate's incumbent starter essentially after Rovig.
Do you mean Sean Austin?
That's who I meant to say. Yeah, out of Coeur d'Alene, and I feel for Sean Austin. Like I was like, I've been a silent Sean Austin fan for a while, so I don't know. It's interesting to see. One of the things I'm really thinking about this season, Ryan, is like, what kind of quarterback system are we going to run?
Yeah, it's very interesting, because now we have a guy who can pass and can run, but we're probably going to do packages to get him out of the game, not because he can only do one or the other, which is what we've been doing previously. We have a guy who could throw, and then we'd have a guy who could come in, and all he could do was run. And now we're going to be mostly just, what do they call it? Like limiting his minutes, basically. What is the word I'm looking for? It's a basketball term specifically, but, the snap count, keeping Mellott's snap count down to keep his injuries is what I think is going to happen. I think Sean Chambers is probably going to come in and rush the ball quite a bit. I'm not sure how much Sean Chambers is going to throw. Maybe he throws more than I expect. That's really what I'm looking for. And the questions I have is like, just what's the split going to be between Mellott and Chambers and possibly Jordan Reed? And how does that look? What kind of QB system are we running? Like you said, where would you put? I guess we could do. You asked me to craft buy or sells. I could craft one right now, and maybe we already have one to this effect. I haven't fully looked at them all. Buy or sell, Tommy Mellott takes 80% or more of the starting snaps under center. Under center. Because he could be wide receiver. So at quarterback.
Assuming everybody stays healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I buy that.
Of course. So you buy that he would take 80% or more of the quarterback snaps in like real duty, not counting like we're up 30 points in the fourth quarter type stuff. Okay. Yeah. I would probably, in my mind, I buy that. I just, I really don't know though. Like that's how I envision things playing out. That's how I could see things. That's how I would probably do it, but I don't have no idea.
I was listening to Taylor Housewright talk about both of the QBs today or a couple of days ago. He said Tommy's more like that engineer thought when he approaches the quarterback position. He's analytical. Sean Chambers is more plays by feel. And interestingly enough, Sean Chambers was voted a team captain at like 19 on Wyoming. So we have two basically alpha dogs in the room. Man, this is really interesting. How are we gonna? Is it gonna be NDSU? Kind of like how they used both of the quarterbacks in the system last year. I'm not sure, man. It's really interesting to me. And then Housewright kind of cheekily he goes, "Well, what if I put three quarterbacks back there at one point? What if they have Jordan Reed, Tommy Mellott, Sean Chambers in the backfield? What are you gonna do there?"
I mean, it could.
And we all know. I mean, Tommy was like taking reps at wide receiver last year. He was running down on kickoffs. He was lifting with the linebackers. I mean, there's a lot of options, but I don't know. How do we use them? How do you best maximize the potential of Tommy Mellott and Sean Chambers? Get the best out of both those guys, because that's really what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. How to manage them so they get the potential out of both of them. But one thing we know about Taylor Housewright is he is innovative, and maybe that didn't always work out necessarily, but he's always going to be thinking outside the box, I think. And I think he's going to come up with some pretty creative stuff that maybe we haven't seen before.
I don't think he probably knows. I think we're going to, the season will play out, and maybe through the non-conference, you'll start to get a feel like, okay, maybe Tommy's good at this and Sean's better at that. One thing I hope that doesn't happen is that we become predictive and, like, let's say, oh, Sean's going to be our third down or Tommy's going to be this, and so packages come in and we're like, yeah, and that's what they're going to do. I don't know. So I feel a little bit burnt out on that from, hey, Travis Johnson's coming in. I wonder what he's going to be doing. And, I don't know if that's going to be the case. I doubt it will be. Different coaching styles right there, but who's to say?
Well, I think the thing with the difference in scenarios there, like I was saying, like it's both guys can do both things. They can run really well and they can throw. And maybe Chambers can't throw maybe as well as you might want, but he can certainly throw better than Travis Johnson or Troy Anderson could. That is easily not even debatable. So, Chambers comes in, you can't assume he's just going to in there to run. The defense can't assume that. Bleeding Blue, buy or sell. Sean Chambers sees an average of 15 plus snaps per game, even with a fully healthy Tommy. And I was thinking about this. Okay, so you want to run like what, 60 plays a game is kind of a good benchmark for an offense, right? I think that's a number you hear. I'm not huge on the analytical side of that. I think you want to at least get 60 snaps, maybe 50 snaps a game. So 15 snaps of a 60 snap offense would be 25%. And I said 80%. So, I mean, that's right around where we're potentially, that's probably not far off. I think, I guess he fully held up his calculator. He was doing the math there too. I'm going to sell that. I don't think it's going to be far off though. But I think it'll be double digits, but not 15. So? 15 seems high.
No, see, I think it's more maybe like 10 if it's double digits, like low double digits. Yeah, I don't know. I think Tommy's going to get the majority. I think he's going to be the guy that is going to be out there for the lion's share of the snaps. I'm really interested to see what we use Sean Chambers in. I could see us going with Sean or like a diamond package, like goal line. Think about short yardage. Like Sean takes the snap, Tommy's next to him.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff.
Almost like Tommy's like a running back in that sense, or a wide out, a split out, something.
Yeah,
like
I mean, you could have Sean Chambers come in like in like a shotgun formation. You have Tommy Mellott lined up wide out, and he motions into the backfield right next to him. Like that's kind of crazy stuff that you can do. And I'm looking forward to seeing some really creative stuff from Taylor Housewright and Chambers and Mellott. Colorado Cat, I'm looking through the rest of the questions here related to the quarterback room, the buy or sells. Buy or sell, a transfer quarterback will lead the team in passing yards. I'm going to sell that.
Yeah. As I was thinking through that, I could see more that Chambers could be more used in the red zone. And Tommy would be the guy moving the ball mostly through the air and also like through the hashes or between the red zones, essentially.
Yep. I think that one, and that's assuming everyone's healthy, as all this is. Robert Katz asks us buy or sell. More than 8 total touchdowns for Sean Chambers this year. So I will buy that, assuming we go into at least 2 games in the playoffs. We play 13 games. I will buy
Yeah.
it, and that I will sell it under regular season only. I'll buy it overall body work because I'm assuming we're going to go at least to the quarterfinals, hopefully at least semifinals.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
I mean,
could see him
it might be
breaking
8
that
rushing
in regular
touchdowns.
season.
I guess he said more than 8, so that'd be 9. Yeah, I'll still buy it. Why not? Why not? We're going to be an offensive juggernaut this year. Dang it.
Yeah, that's one thing I think we will be. Actually, I think there's going to be a shift in the
there
way
will be.
Montana State, the identity of Montana State this year. I think it's going to be a more offensive team than defensive team. I don't know.
I'm hoping the days of like getting a 10-point lead and then just doing absolutely nothing with the offense and just counting on the defense to win are kind of, shifting away from that a little bit.
All right. Good quarterback talk.
Yeah, good quarterback. I don't think there's anything else I need to say on that. I'm excited, man. I asked you like on one of our maybe coming out of spring or something. I said by yourself something to the effect of like, this is the best you felt about the quarterback situation coming into Montana State, and you sold that. Are you still feeling that negative about it?
Oh,
not necessarily that you were feeling negative. You just didn't seem to be very optimistic. And you said that Tommy Mellott has a lot to prove. Have you bought into any more Tommy Mellott now than you did in the spring?
Well, kind of, but I feel the same a little bit. I mean, he got preseason Big Sky first team quarterback,
which was surprising to me.
That was kind of surprising, to be honest. I just want to see him pass. I mean, watching him drop that dime to Willie Patterson in the Sam Houston State game 2 days ago, as I rewatched it, I was like, man, there it is. But that's not what we need from Tommy. I mean, most of his passes, he's so good on the deep out and then dropping those dimes, on one-on-one coverage. That is good. But where's the answer for 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7? That's what I really want to see.
Yeah.
And that's what I think for Montana State to take the next step in the passing game, we have to be able to solve that somehow.
This is going off the rails a little bit, but can't you? I see a situation like with a quarterback like Tommy Mellott, you should always be able to find a one-on-one situation, always, because they have to keep an eye on you. If they have so many guys back there that it's going to be double covered, then you're going to run for a first down. So assuming the offense is operating as it should, Mellott's making his reads and he's looking downfield, those one-on-ones are going to be there all the time. Just a thought. Do we need a guy who's going to thread the needle in on a 3rd and 8 in a normal situation? Maybe we don't.
I just want to see some crossing patterns. I want to see Derek Snell and Traden Pickering catch those passes over the middle.
We're so conditioned to that kind of offense as football fans. Like, that's what people do. That's what normal football teams do. It's not what we do at Montana State. All right, get over it. Get used to it.
I'm so tired of it. Okay.
Anyway, all right. Good conversation.
Let's move on. Let's talk about receivers, man, because the receiver room, that's been something I've been thinking about for about 2 weeks now. It's like I started researching the receivers and going, holy cow. We vacate Lance McCutcheon, Nate Stewart. Oh man, big time names going on to big time places. And all of a sudden we're like going, well, who do we have? And we have quite a few players that we don't know much about.
No.
So
it's crazy. We've had guys leave the program, or I guess didn't leave the program, but Andrew Patterson and who was there? Cam Gardner are both some sort of academic situation where they're not on the roster at the moment. Graduated Lance McCutcheon and Nate Stewart, who are 2 big time pass catchers for us, 2 big bodies that can win those one-on-one battles. And did we have someone transfer out?
No, we didn't have any transfers.
Jaden Smith transferred out.
Oh yeah, so he went to Tarleton State.
Yeah.
Charles Brown went to Texas State.
There you go. So
Jamad Monroe left us. Andrew Patterson. Well, we talked about Andrew.
It's a whole turnover, man. It's just like all of a sudden Willie P.
It was.
Our boy Willie Patterson's the only guy left.
Coy Steele. Coy Steele's going to come in. He had 12 starts in 2019.
He is, but he's injured. He's not even on on the depth chart, on the summer depth chart, his injury is, his status is up in the air. He's been injured a lot in his career, poor guy. At least Willie Patterson, the most experienced pass catcher with the Bobcats, left, slotted in at the Z receiver. Looking at this, they got, is it Cleveland Thomas? I don't know how to say the name. I've never seen the name before.
He's a grad student. I think he already has one graduate degree. He's working on a second one.
Oh, man.
5'11", 193 from Miami, Florida, but he played in the SEC. He's from Kentucky. He had a ACL tear, missed the whole 2021 season. He was a top 100 receiver in 2017 class. He's a dude, and he's coming to Montana State. I'm really high on this guy. Like, I think he's going to be. No, but I've heard he's really fast, like Andrew Patterson fast. So, and I heard he's like, what the Coach Vegan was saying is like him, and we're going to talk about Malik Mullins here. They just really jived with the culture already. Like the guys we're bringing in, the guys we're about to talk about, Robbie Alston, Malik Mullins, Cleveland Thomas, Marquis Johnson, the guys that are coming into this receiver room, that Bobcat fans are going to be like, who's that? Like they're already bought into the culture. They're not guys who are coming in expecting their shine, coming in humble but confident, as Willie P was saying on Coulter Show today. And I'm super stoked for these guys.
You know what? I was pretty concerned about this group to begin with, but we've had so many transfers, right? And like some of these transfers aren't necessarily proven. I think Robbie Alston's probably the most proven one, just because he's played a ton of starting college football. It might have been a D3, but he's played a lot of football. So he's a grad transfer, 6'3", 203. And so we saw a little bit of him in the spring game, which was televised, which was awesome for us. And he looked pretty good. There was just somebody put a snippet out. I don't know if it's Victor Flores or who did it. Just route running from like the first day of camp or something. And it was like Robbie Alston coming out of a break. And then it was like Aiden Garrigan coming out of a break. And it was like, you could tell just on those two guys alone, Robbie Alston is more polished and more explosive. Like he just looked good. I'm not knocking on Aiden Garrigan. I'm just saying Robbie Alston looks like he is a guy who's ready to come in and contribute right away. So I'm pretty high on him. I'm high on Willie Patterson. That's one of the questions we have. Somebody asked us about Willie Patterson breakout season, and we can get to that in a second. The question for me though, who's going to win? Is it Cleveland Thomas Jr.? Is it Tavian Williams, Amandre Williams, Ziz, little brother?
Ziz?
Yeah, Williams Ziz. And then I always hate that English language can just take a hike. And then Marquis Johnson, the Sac State transfer, just kind of quietly came here as well.
Don't know anything about that dude.
I don't know anything about him. He played like he redshirted and caught like one pass at Sac State. So know nothing about him either. But I don't know how this shuffles because they have Christian Anaya and Malik Mullins both behind Willie P at Z. I don't see Willie P giving up many snaps to those guys. You said you wanted to talk a little bit about Malik Mullins. Do you have anything you want to say about him? He's a JC guy, right? Coming in at 6'3", 190. I remember watching his film. He looked kind of scrawny. That's all I remember seeing about Malik Mullins. A little slight frame.
No, I don't have anything else on Mullins. He's just another Florida guy. So we got a couple of Florida guys. I think that's going to be Brian Armstrong. I think it was a coach down in Florida, right?
Like a high school coach in Florida.
He's making ends down there. So we have a couple of Florida guys now. So anyways, I don't know much about Malik, but I mean, we're flush with talent in the receiver room right now.
Unproven
that's
talent
something
is what
that's like
makes me nervous, though.
Yes, it is. It is unproven talent. I mean, I don't know. Can you call Cleveland Thomas an unproven talent if he's played in the SEC?
But did he play in the SEC?
He did.
Did he play any snaps? Did he catch any? Like, what are his stats? Like, being in the SEC for 3 years doesn't. If you get 0 snaps, doesn't really mean that.
I'm pretty sure he did, man. I'm pretty sure he had snaps. Okay. I mean, I've seen pictures of him like juking players. So, I mean, we didn't even talk about some of the freshmen though that are incoming. So you have Christian Naya, 6'1", 175 from Texas, I think. I'm not sure. Christian Naya, where is he from?
Arizona, I want to say.
Arizona, yeah. Taco Dowler 5'9", 160 from Billings. Dylan Snyder, 6'2", 185. And then we got to meet Noah Smith down in Frisco. He's 6'3", 192. He had a nice picture on Instagram today. I mean, these guys are looking good. We got some height and we got some speed. That's for sure.
We have a little height. I wouldn't say we're an overly tall wide receiver room.
Well, 6'3" is pretty good. I mean,
we'll probably go 6'3",
6'5",
5'9", and 5'11" as our starting wideouts.
Don't listen to me. Listen to Thorny. Yeah. I mean, guys, I'm really interested about Marquis Johnson. Like, I'm this Sac State guy. I really want to see Cleveland Thomas take some snaps. He basically took over the slot position. Willie Patterson's moving to the outside. Willie Patterson's interview on Nuanez Now today. He took care of his body. He said, we're playing 15-game seasons over the off season. I really, watched my diet and strengthen my body. Prepared to play on the outside. So, I thought that was a big surprise, moving Willie to the outside. What do you think about Willie moving to the outside?
We talked about this in the spring, and I thought we did it kind of back then just because of the loss of talent that we departed, and I guess I think Jaden Smith had transferred at that point. I believe I don't remember exactly, but it's a little surprising.
I don't exactly love it.
Yeah, no, he's a generous 5'9", right? He's not your prototypical sized outside guy, but if he can catch those over the shoulder balls from Tommy, if he can catch that specific kind of pass and he's got speed enough to burn, which he does, I think it can work. I trust the coaches here, but it does seem a little odd to me that you'd have a guy like Willie Patterson who seems like he's just built for the slot, but he might take less wear and tear on his body. He's had some issues like his collarbone, right? He's dinged that up a couple times. He might take a little bit less bone crunching hits if he's playing on the outside. So it could be an overall good move for his health and his durability throughout the season, and still give him some chances to catch like some hook patterns and make some guys miss in space. So it could work out. We'll see.
All right.
What'd you drop?
Anything else on the wide receiver room that you think we should talk about? Anything else that's coming up?
I don't, but we do have some questions while we're here. Cool. Let's see.
All right.
Colorado Cat has a theme. You'll catch on to it here because you heard his first question. A transfer wide receiver will lead the team in receiving yards. And I'm going to buy that.
I'm going to sell that. I think.
Whoa, you go first.
Okay. I believe this is Willie P's year. I think this is a breakout year for Willie P. He's the face of the team. He's one of the faces of the team. Got that extra COVID year. Now it's time to shine. Willie P really came on last year. I think it's going to be Willie P's year.
See, I was thinking that Ravi Alston would be the guy that I was going to pencil in for the most receiving yards because he's going to fill that Lance McCutcheon type role as be the main target in our 50-50 ball offense that we like to run. But if they start creeping a couple guys, double teaming Alston, that's going to leave Willie P in a lot of one-on-one situations, and I like Willie P in those matchups. So, that's a tough call. I'm rooting for Willie, and I'm hoping it's Willie, but I'm going to sell it, or I'm buying it, I guess. I do think a transfer wide receiver, namely Robbie Alston, will lead the team in receiving yards, but I don't think it's going to be by a whole lot.
It's going to take all of them, man.
Maybe like 800 yards, 700 yards for Willie or something.
Yeah. Like if we actually go back to Frisco, another 15 games of this, man, just think about what we need from that group. Holy cow.
You're right. You're right.
A lot of
it's going to take a lot more than just those three guys that we talked about as the starting guys.
Woo.
One last question. I guess we can kind of talk about this while we're here. Buy or sell, Bleeding Blue Taco Dowler returns a punt for a touchdown within the first month of the season. So not necessarily receivers, but he is a wide receiver. So let's talk about that right now.
I would like to. I'm going to sell. It's unlikely, although that's what he's known for. I mean, I want to. But you know what? I'm going to buy it. Let's go. Let's go.
Think Taco is even going to be returning punts? Period.
I think he probably will. Yeah.
I mean, Willie P was a starting wide receiver last year.
Do we want to go there?
They put him back there. I'm just saying, like, they played him all year last year. They didn't make a change. So unless Taco can come in and prove right away. Because I mean, punt returning is not as easy as you think it is. And we're sitting here criticizing Willie P for like maybe letting like, you know, decisions he made back there. But the fact that, you know, he made those decisions and made a few mistakes here and there, and the coaches didn't put anyone else in. Maybe there's just no one else ready or willing to do that. It's not so easy. So I don't know. I'm thinking it's probably
there
still
might be
Willie.
A chance like at Moorhead State to sneak Taco
Try
Dollar
someone else
there.
out. Yeah. Well, that's where would be where it most likely would be to happen is if Taco came in a late game situation where we pulled everyone out and they punt the ball like early in the fourth quarter, and Taco just houses against like Moorhead State's like first/second team. So I'll still sell it. I'll just still sell it. As much as I'd love to see it, I don't think it can happen.
Okay.
All right. All right. What do you want to talk about next?
Let's go into the running back room.
Ugh.
And let's talk about, well, let's first acknowledge
the elephant
Fonse's not going to be the starter.
He's not going to be the starter. Yeah. The real question is how much time is he going to miss? I know Vegan was talking about making it sound like, oh, he's not going to be, ready for the first game. He's month to month. How serious is it? How long is he going to be out for? How long do we need him to be out for, or can we afford to have him out for, I guess, is a bigger question. I don't think he has to play in the out of conference at all. I don't think he has to.
Yeah. Did your vision shift a little bit after the run last year? Now, are you looking, for me, I find myself looking more like 15 games now instead of just running through the conference and getting through the cat grades and whatnot. Like if we're gonna ride a Fonse, I'd rather have him coming back late October, if anything.
So I mean, we got McNeese, Moorhead, and Oregon State. He doesn't have to play any of those games. Eastern, It'd be ideal if he's back at Eastern. I'm not sure, but for UC Davis, I think if he's back by UC Davis at home, that's like worst case last date. I'd like to have a healthy Afonso. Truly healthy though. Don't bring him back early. Bring him back when he's good and ready.
Yeah. So I think there's a silver lining in this, but let's just air out right now. I'm going to read through who we have in Jimmy Bill's running back room. Okay. So Afonso, we just talked about him. Other returning lettermen, we have Elijah Elliott, who's a sophomore, put on some weight. He was like 175 last year.
Yeah, he looked yoked. He's beefed up, man.
Yeah, well, I read something or listened to something about him putting on some weight. He knew he had to because he was getting deemed up as 175, and that was a emphasis. He eats like 12 eggs a day. I don't remember where I read this. I would love to give them some credit, but on top of everything else he eats 12 eggs a day. That's crazy. Anyways,
12 eggs a day. I love eggs. It would do something different to me than it would a 19-year-old athlete's body, though.
Oh gosh, okay. We got Lane Sumner coming back. Lane Sumner, yes, man, that guy is awesome, and a little bit bigger, 192, 5'8", 192. He's that Logan Jones type of back, but I think Coulter said it. He thinks he's faster than Logan Jones.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think he's stronger than Logan Jones.
Okay, so.
Top end speed, though? Ooh, I don't know about that.
So we've heard some talkings about Garrett Kuhn, who was a redshirt last year, 6 foot, 205. We got the incoming grad transfer, Keegan Williams from San Diego State, who has very pretty eyes. Have you seen his eyes? They're like sparkly blue. He's got that dark skin. It's just like striking. He looks like Alex Rodriguez.
I don't know what to say to you when you say these kind of things on this podcast. Like, even if I agreed with you, like, I don't know what I'm going to say.
He's a very handsome fella. His little lower body, too.
Yeah, I just see his brief little interview about talking legs. About like expectations about beating the Grizz, winning the national championship. I'm like, all right, Keegan Williams, you're all right. But I didn't zoom in on his eyes at that time.
Well, I was just perusing the roster yesterday, and I was like, dang, man, this guy's a good-looking dude. Anyways, Keegan Williams, so 5'9", 195. They threw a picture of him in action on Instagram the other day on Montana State, and his lower body. He just has a strong lower body that you want to see in a good running back. I'm really stoked for that kid.
When's the last time we had a number
fun stuff?
When's the last time we had a number 7 running back? Was Trey Robinson number 7?
He was. Good call on that.
Yeah,
man.
I was like, man, he was a big dude. I forgot how big Trey Robinson is. He was a big man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'm excited about the running back room behind Afonso. I think.
Oh, I'm not done, man.
Okay.
I'm not done. There's a freshman there that's getting a lot of talk right now, especially from Coach Vegan, Jared White from Frisco, Texas.
I have not heard that.
5'10", 195. We got a couple incoming freshmen: Nolan Iverson, Max Murphy, Cade Strutz. These are guys that
I think I heard Iverson was also like one of the guys that was like not on the roster anymore. I thought. But
really?
Regardless, he would have been way down there anyway.
Yeah, so Jared White, I was listening to Vegan's presser the other day, and White keeps coming up. Like they said, this true freshman from Frisco, Texas, and keep on. So he might be in the mix. But guys that the names that keep popping up to me are obviously Lane Sumner, Elijah Elliott, Keegan Williams, and Garrett Kuhn. So it's a platoon, right? Now that we learned our lesson, riding the horse raw.
Did we?
I think we did, man.
Biggin says he did.
Jimmy Beal
I've heard him
at media days.
Biggin said it. Beal said it.
Yeah, man.
It's all talk until it happens.
Well, so that's the silver lining. It's like now it's forced. Who are you going to get?
True.
You're not going to ride. You're not going to give 30, 40 touches to Elijah Elliott.
And you're not going to give 30 to Tommy Mellott.
No,
you didn't. You did once. I don't think.
Damned if you do.
That was like the season on the line. They're not going to be doing that at Morehead State.
No,
so they got to split it up, and this is a good opportunity. That's a great way of putting it. Like now they're forced to split the carries because you can't ride Lane Sumner, you can't ride Elijah Elliott the same way you rode Afonso. I mean, he's a special back like that, and even he ended up getting dinged up and having to have surgery. So I think that's why Keegan Williams was brought in. They knew that Afonso may miss some time. He may miss the whole season. I don't know. But the point is they knew Afonso was going to be injured. So they reached out, found a guy who has some good experience in the Mountain West. And I think, whoever gets this bulk of the carries between Elliott, Sumner, and Williams is going to be a very competent, capable back.
I always wondered with running backs, as you're trying to split reps, how long do you go with a guy? Because you want to get a guy in a rhythm, right? You bring Garrett Kuhn in, and he gets four touches, and he scampers a good one for 10 yards, and then he gets yanked, and somebody else comes in. Like, I always wonder, like, was that a good thing? Should we just kept going because he was doing well? I don't know how to handle running backs.
I don't know either, man.
How do you handle loads for running backs? Yeah, I mean, we obviously don't do what you did to Afonso last year. I mean, it was stupid, right? I mean, you and I would sit on this podcast where like the game is clearly in hand and Afonso's still back there. Like that was just dumb.
It was.
Get him out. Get him out.
Yeah, there were too many times where he did not need to be in there.
No.
But apparently Elliott was more dinged up than we thought. Sumner was dinged up, so I don't even know who would have been like the fourth guy last year.
Hosey.
It would have been Hosey. You're right. That would have been who should have at least carried us through some spots. And yeah, he's gone now. So. And speculation as to why that is, we won't get into that here. But buy or sell. The Bobcats can make it back to the national championship with Afonso playing 0 snaps this year.
Oh, do I have to answer?
I thought of that one as we were going. It's a hard one.
There's so many other factors to that because
I'm not saying will we. I'm just saying can the Bobcats?
Can we?
Is it a possibility?
Yeah, I'll buy that for just being optimistic.
I think things would have to really fall into place in terms of like seeding and kind of like last year. I mean, we took care of business in Sam Houston State, but then South Dakota State took care of business, giving us another home game. So things kind of worked out a little bit. I think it has to be a situation where it kind of has some good fortune maybe again. But I think it could happen. I think we can be dynamic enough without Afonso, but it would be much bigger challenge to get back. But I do think it's on the table, but I put the odds pretty low. We need our All-American, hopefully career-leading, record-breaking running back.
What do you think Afonso was at the end of the year last year, like percentage-wise, of his optimal self?
In Frisco?
No, like South Dakota State. Did he play South Dakota State?
I don't think he did, actually. Did he?
No.
That's why Tommy Mellott ran the ball 36 times.
Yeah. Sam Houston State. What do you think he was at Sam Houston State?
I mean, I don't know if Afonso's been more than 90% since he stepped on campus in Montana State. He's probably like in the 70s, man, like 75%.
Okay. So let me ask you this. In that case, is a Lane Sumner better than a 70% Afonso?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
There's so many times that Afonso just willed the offense forward last year. Like he was responsible for carrying the load, and literally carrying about 10 dudes for a 3-yard first down that needed to happen.
Nah, like will never question Afonso's toughness, and he's probably going to go down as the all-time best running back from Montana State history. I think he's 300 yards off of Brian Johnston's record right now. But I have a hard time believing a Lane Sumner, a Garrett Kuhn, 100% healthy Lane Sumner or Garrett Kuhn coming in that situation. And Keegan Williams now looking at this roster. Anybody who's better, who is more healthy, not marginally more healthy, but let's say like, hey, I'm ready to go. I have not had the load this guy has. Put me in now. I don't know, man.
It's hard. It depends on what you want, I guess. Afonso at 70% is still not getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage. There's a chance anyone
really
else
good
will.
in run pass support too. Like he's a good pass pro running back. I don't know.
He's still going to get you 4 yards if you need 4 yards. Maybe
no, man.
I don't know. It's a good question.
He didn't though. Like,
when did Afonso not get his job done last year?
It was more of an offensive line, thing, but whatever. All right. Yes, a lot of different guys in the running back room. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what they look like.
I'm excited for other guys to get opportunities, like you said, because now they have to. Now we got no choice. So let's see what Elijah Elliott can do fully healthy with some off-season training. Let's see what Lane Sumner can do fully healthy, maybe getting his fair share of the carries now. Like, it'll be interesting to see it. I think it's going to work out for the Bobcats. Someone had a good question that I wanted to read here. Buy or sell. Where did it go? You got to help me here. You don't have to help me. Rivercat, buy or sell. Bobcats will have at least 4 players rush for over 400 yards to the end of the regular season.
Yeah, sell.
I'm buying that, baby.
I love it.
Well, I don't think someone's going to get to 400. Let's say Afonso misses half the season. Tommy Mellott's going to get 400. Sean Chambers is going to get 400. Afonso is going to get 400. And Sumner's going to get 400. Sumner or Williams. One of those two will get 400.
Rivercat. Did Rivercat specifically say, just 4 players, not 4 running backs? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're probably right then, because I wasn't accounting for Mellott and Chambers.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he just did say players, not running backs.
Yeah. All right.
I'll buy it.
All right. Switch mine. I'm going by 2.
All right. We are pushing up against an hour here. I don't want to hurry us through, but let's get the thing moving here. Want to move over to the last juiciest bit, the offensive line, or do you want to talk about the tight ends, which has 0 drama and just some talent returning?
Yeah, I don't think we need to really talk about the tight ends. I know Mr. Snell is going to be like, what? You're not going to mention my son?
He's going to listen to this for 50 minutes, and we're not going to talk about Derek Snell. I mean, just real quick, the tight end
He's
group
so good.
is awesome. Like the only thing with the tight end group is how often is Tyler Housewright going to drop some passing to the tight ends, because we have a great group of tight ends. I mean, it's been a tradition
Awesome
at Montana
players.
State for a while now. But Derek Snell, Trayton Pickering, boom. Like, what else do you even need? And
Ryan
it goes deeper
Lonergan,
than that too.
Elijah Reynolds, Peyton Thornton. I mean, there's some big dudes that are just waiting in line for their turn.
Yeah, Ryan
But,
Lonergan.
it's going to be highlighted by Derek Snell and Peyton Pickering.
Yep. We are set in the tight end spot, as we often are. Man, I love Derek Snell. He's mean. Like, we haven't had like a mean guy like that for a while. I mean, I guess RJ Fitzgerald I'd almost classify in that. They're just looking to like just punish people. And you need that from a tight end, and you can see it when he has the ball in his hands too. That makes it even more entertaining. So Peyton Thornton, I think, is more of a receiving athletic threat in that regard, but I just want to see us throw the ball more to those two very capable pass catchers. I mean, they're both amazing blockers, but they're both very good pass catchers too. Let's get them involved.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all I got to say. Like, I'm not concerned whatsoever. There's no storylines here other than they're awesome, and throw the ball to them, please.
All right. Let's end on the offensive line.
All right. The COVID young offensive line. This is to me, the biggest. I've gone back and forth, fluctuating between the wide receiver room or the offensive line being my biggest kind of area of concern. And I'm starting to feel pretty good about both of them, to be honest with you. How are you feeling about the offensive line right now? Yeah. First of all, who do you think's even got started? Who do you think is going to start? And that's kind of a hard thing to. There's still battles going on, which is interesting.
I think there's only 2, maybe 3 spots that are solidified. Left guard, Rush Reimer. Center, Justice Perkins. And I think, I said left guard. Left tackle, Rush Reimer.
There you go.
Center, Justice Perkins. And I think probably left guard will be JT Reed.
Yeah.
But I think the right side is up for grabs.
Now, Vim he reported that on Sunday that the first team offensive line continues to be what you just said, but Marcus Ware anchoring down that right guard spot. And I imagine the other guy who would be pushing there would be Cole Sane, which is pretty crazy. A guy like Cole Sane, who's had a pretty decent pedigree, who played some meaningful football for the Bobcats last year, is going to get beat out by a converted defensive lineman in Marcus Ware. But, I think that more speaks credit to Marcus Ware's development than it does anything related to Cole Sane, like slipping. Where did Session play? The transfer. He transferred to Cal. TJ Session.
He was a guard. I think he was our left guard last year.
Yeah. That's a tough one. Back-to-back years, the Cats have lost an offensive lineman to a Power 5 conference. It's tough.
Yeah.
Those big-time programs are always poaching, always looking for a guy to provide depth.
There's a name that keeps coming up in the conversations I've been listening to and reading about. Titan Fleischman.
Yeah, right.
Freshman, 6'4", 286. It was listed in this document I have. Supposed to be mean. And I think that's what you really want.
I thought he was up to 3. I heard he was 300. I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he is on the actual MSU roster right now. Is 300, 6'4", 300, which is crazy because he came in. I thought he was only 260 or 270 when he came in. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman. He's been here for a few years now with the COVID and all that stuff. But yeah, man, he's got an awesome name. Number 1, Titan Fleischman. That's pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if he's got that mean attitude that you want one guy on your offensive line just to be a jerk, playing past the whistle, pissing everybody off. You kind of want that guy. if he's going to be that guy, man, he's battling. Jacob Kettles, who's a guy who has a lot of talent, but who's been injured. So that's a good battle.
It is a good battle. But you know what we say, injured guys are always injured, right?
Yeah.
And Jacob Kettles has been kind of that guy. We've heard a lot of good things about him. We'd love to see him healthy. But like we said, injured guys tend to be injured. So
I think Jacob Kettle's gray shirted coming to MSU because of an injury, if I remember correctly.
So what do you think? I think Coach Vegan said like last year we had. Sorry, I just hit the microphone right there. Last year we had 6 or 7 guys we could play on the O-line. This year we have 8 to 9 guys that can play on the O-line. So question to you, Thorny, what do you think about the idea of rotating offensive linemen?
I hate it.
Why? Tell me about that.
My understanding, as a guy who's never played, I played in 5th and 6th grade. That's the extent of my football career. Don't know anything about like coaching and all that stuff. What's that?
Were you on the line?
I was a tight end and a defensive end. So yes, I guess I was. Yeah.
Look at you, man.
I was also, I guess I was a safety, and then I got real fat in 6th grade and switched over to defensive end. Oh man, that's a pretty funny story. I was always under the impression that it was so important to have good chemistry and know what the guy next to you is going to do and just work together as a cohesive unit. And I don't see how you can do that if you're swapping guys in.
Well, I mean, 8 and 9 guys, that's not unthinkable. This is something too that more bodies, more fresh bodies, man. It's you gotta feel that. It's gonna take some game reps. If that's the way we're gonna go, if we're gonna play 8, 9 guys on the offensive line, like you said, and not just keeping the 5 guys across the front. If we actually do this rotation, there's gonna be some growing pains for sure. The chemistry is absolutely a real deal, as we've heard. I'm not disputing that, but I do think there will be benefits. The longevity of our season. This goes back to what we were talking about on the running backs. I think the fresher you are, the better it's going to be in December.
But have we ever had I don't know, the offensive line just doesn't seem like a position group that wears down and guys just get beat up by the end of the season. It seems like it would be, but it just never seems to be something that happens, or we don't hear about it maybe. I mean, obviously it's a very physical position, but those guys, defensive linemen are the guys that get stronger. They're the ones who wear out the defensive line. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I could see the benefits of it, keeping guys fresh, but I know that's what apparently, is it North Dakota State does it, or somebody does it? Some other programs do it. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something I would employ. But I am not anywhere near football coach.
Technocat says, buy or sell, our offensive line will allow less sacks than last year.
I mean, I'll buy it, but not because necessarily the offensive line, just because Tommy Mellott's going to be impossible to tackle as a sack.
Yeah, so I'll buy it because of that as well. So
I don't know, man. I was worried about it, but I'm just feeling better and better.
Yeah. Like I said, Jimmy Beal, when I was talking to him on media days, not young, we're COVID young.
Yeah.
And he just smiled at me. He's like, we're going to be all right, bro. It's like,
don't you worry.
I believe you, Jimmy.
I mean, when you see like a converted defensive lineman on there taking snaps, and you have really talented stalwarts who've been there for years graduate, and then the one up and coming talented guy that you have transfers out. I mean, it casts doubts over the whole thing. But the real benefit is that the season is kind of backloaded in terms of. I mean, there's some tough games in the front for the Cats, but they have 3 games. A couple easy ones at home, and then the Oregon State game. Whatever happens at that game doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. They're gonna have some time to gel. By the time that late season's rolling around, a young offensive line could really be coming together and really be dominating by the time that the late season comes around. So that's where I'm really hopeful that they'll get better and better as the season progresses, as they play more together and just get more reps.
I think you're right. You want to be hitting your stride in November, December. I think we will. I really like the way the Coach Vegan is running this program. And this can't be understated for these guys playing in all these positions we talked about today, the double reps. We keep hearing about it. It's almost like it's coming up more and more and more. You and I have had private conversations about the way the Bobcats practice. This is a big deal.
Seems like it.
thing I think the other teams in the conference are probably going to start picking up on this double rep idea that these guys are really not essentially standing around in practice. They're doing the same reps, the same things each essentially split, right? Is that how you understand it?
Yeah, there's basically like 2 football fields, and
Yeah.
there's like, they split it in half, and there's coaches that go on both sides, and they run it like two separate practices, separate of each other almost. That's my
But
understanding.
they're doing the same stuff.
Yeah, doing the same stuff. Yeah,
Anyways.
they like, here's the game plan. We're going to run this, blah, blah. But yeah, everyone's doing it. It might be like, 4s against 3s on one side and 1s and 2s on the other side, or like, I don't know, but it's going to, just seems like smart, and it seems like people weren't doing this. Like, it just seems so simple.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, one last question for you. We just talked about every position on the offense. What's the one position you're most excited to see?
Quarterback. I know it's the low-hanging fruit, but man, I'm excited to see what Tommy can do. I'm just excited to see. I'm excited for the quarterback position for the first time since Dakota Prukop, man. Like, legitimately excited and optimistic about it. Not just like, all right, well, Chris Murray's back. He'll be better than last year. No, this is like, I'm legitimately excited that we have a potential top 10 quarterback in the FCS again. We'll see how it plays out.
Gotcha.
But I think that's kind of where Tommy Mellott could end up. I don't know if he's going to be there. Like we've talked about, so much to prove. That's a lot of expectations to place on him, but I'm excited for it to see if he can live up to that.
Yeah, there's so much turnover in every position except quarterback. I mean, even with quarterback, with Sean Chambers coming, I'm really excited to watch the receivers. I really want to see what our tailbacks can do. I'm really interested in the O-line as well. It's hard for me to pick one.
It is.
Honestly.
It's a lot of interesting things to watch.
Yeah.
And that's why, like you said, the Montana State booth at the Big Sky Media was the busiest because people are interested in all this stuff.
Yeah. That's the offense.
That is the offense, man. I think the offense is going to score more and a lot easier than it did last year and move the ball a lot better. It seems like there's no, like we're going to take some big steps forward. Even with the loss of so many talented guys, I think we'll finally see and be reminded of what a dynamic playmaking quarterback can do for an offense and not just be there as part of the offense, which is what the Cats have been doing. Like, just don't screw up has been the mantra for the quarterbacks and Jeff Choate. Hey, Tucker Rovick, don't throw an interception. That's it. That's all was asked of him.
Going into this year, I see there's going to be more playmakers. We might not have the individual talent of Lance McCutcheon and Afonso all the time, but that might not be a bad thing. I think if we spread the ball around a little bit more, rely on a platoon of running backs, I think that's actually going to be a good thing. And I think we saw that when we played teams like North Dakota State. That's the kind of offense they run. They don't rely on one major star. They spread the wealth around. They have a lot of really good guys. And I see Montana State has a lot of really good guys right now.
It's easy to sound kind of crazy when I say this, but the defense at Montana State has been so good because of all the rotation and so many guys contributing. And like when I say like it sounds crazy, we had Troy Anderson. Like he was the dude, the best dude in the league. But the system on defense has been just like, everyone contributes. So we have rotate so many guys in. But the offense has always seemed to be like, this guy's going to get the ball and this receiver is going to catch the ball. And that's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that can finally change this year. Like you said, spreading the ball around, getting more guys carries, getting more people involved. Maybe the talent level is less, but I think the production can rise above. I'm excited, man.
Dude. I think we did it. That's our offensive episode for sure.
We did it.
1 hour, 10 minutes.
And seemingly no audio glitches using our recording software tonight. I don't know. I wasn't going to say anything, but now that we're pretty much done, I can say it. We did it. It went smoothly.
Did some updates.
Now I just have lots of editing to do. I'll probably release the one we recorded last night, Wednesday, and maybe I'll release this one either Thursday or Friday. Probably Friday. I'll try and get it all done sooner, but we'll see how much time I have to do this stuff. I'm excited, man. That was a fun episode. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Oh man, I honestly could jump into defense right now, but let's cap it.
Let's cap it. All right. Thanks everyone for listening to the episode here. I hope everyone is excited for Bobcat football as we are. You can support us at Ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/rrcatcast. You can find us on the web, rrcatcast.com. Hit us up with an email, rrcatcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter, rrcatcast. Very easy. I made the branding very easy for all this. Instagram, rrcatcast. Facebook, rrcatcast, although I really don't do anything on Facebook for the account. But if you want to, you can find us there.
Somehow it still runs. Yeah. It still gets traction.
Yeah. The Facebook, real quick tangent here. Facebook added an option that I could plug in our podcast feed and it would create little podcasts and just like automatically publish them to the page. I was like, sweet, this makes it easy. And then they like just completely deleted and removed the feature. So now it's completely gone. So now the Facebook or Catcast page is pretty much just a blank piece of garbage. All right, let's get out of here, Fully. Go Cats.
All right. Go Cats.
Go Cats.